Welcome to the Mad Panda podcast, where hip hop doesn't have an expiration date. I am Nate, along here with my co-host Silas, and today we're diving deep into everything hip hop. So let's get it.
And as usual, if you like what you hear, please like, share, and subscribe, so we can keep growing. So today we were going to actually kind of do a little dive into a record label. They've been a big one in the underground scene for a little while. It's called BackWoodz Studio, and that's Backwoods with a Z. I believe they're named after the blunts.
Yeah, the bump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the label was founded by Billy Woods, back in 2003. So it's basically a place for him to put out his music. I first came across him because he did an album with Blockhead,
Okay.
and I'm a pretty big fan of Blockhead's production. So, Dower Candy, I think was the name of that one. And it was a good album. So that was the first time I came across, but I think they had already put out a few albums by then. But so I've been listening to a lot of their stuff for a while. If you've been watching our podcast, you probably remember my favorite album from last year was an album by Shrapnel called Nobody Planning to Leave, and that was put out on that label. Shrapnel's put out a few good albums, and then if you know anything about them, Shrapnel's made up of Curly Castro and a guy named Premrock, and they've both put out solo albums. I have several. In fact, Premrock just put one out, and I don't recall the name off the top of my head, but it just came out within the last month.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, and then actually Billy Woods has just announced a new one. Gollywog, I think is the name of it.
Gollywog.
Yeah, that's coming out like in May, I believe. So, yeah. So I know you listened to a couple albums recently, so I was curious what you thought about them. They get a lot of people like kind of in that independent kind of mindset. Love them.
Yeah, the people who like. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my thoughts on it. I listened to two I guess albums from BackWoodz, and I'm gonna talk about the first one, which is the one you just brought up, Shrapnel. Nobody's planning to leave. That one was had a dark tone to it. And really it kind of in that experimental kind of realm a little bit. I love the intro though. The intro was kind of like it has this like I forgot it was like this. It had kicked off with kind of an interlude, I guess you could say. And so yeah, but throughout the album it was I don't know who's rapping because I'm not too familiar. This is my like first introduction to everybody, so this I didn't know who's like
Curly Castro has the kind of the rougher voice.
Okay, so he's
there's one a little gruffer.
Yeah.
The other one's a little. They're both kind of deep, but the other one's kind of a little smoother.
So okay.
That I don't know.
Yeah, because there's actually one song on this album. I forgot what it's called, but maybe it was like eight finger piano or something like that.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that one was like haunting a little bit. Like it was like it's like some kind of Halloween type. Type situation. I liked it. For the most part, the album. There was a little bit of what I can say, a little lull, like where I feel like some of the songs kind of like felt like the same song in a way.
Okay.
And there's actually this one song I can't remember it. I think it was like URRM or something like that, but the beat on it was kind of like out of place. Like if like everything was kind of like out of pocket. He was rapping out of pocket, and then the beat was kind of like out of pocket until you get to like towards the end of the song, and then it kind of like switches up. And then that's when like everything kind of like starts to flow a little better and stuff like that. Yeah, but that was probably the only one I was kind of like really fishy with. There was probably two other ones, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But that one with the URM or something like that, or UR, and it was like something Nazareth, but I can't remember. But that one was a little that one.
UR Metal.
UR Metal, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And it featured a Lucid, who's part of the label as well.
Got you.
The album was produced by a guy named Controller 7.
And
I really like his production. I first came across him early 2000s on Anticon, which is a label that came out of the Oakland area.
Okay.
But it was basically kind of white boy nerd hip hop, kind of really abstract, sing-songy, weird, just very, not your traditional, like, it was good hip hop. I mean, it was very much influenced by boom bap style and kind of that New York vibe, but it definitely wasn't
on the abstract side.
It was definitely very abstract and very kind of they got, I think they came out really cocky and
Mm-hmm.
turned a lot of like,
People off on
yeah,
them.
hip hop fans off, kind of.
Well, I mean, what you mean, like Caillou? They like,
Well,
what's real hip hop
they
type
put
stuff.
out this compilation. It was called "Music for the Advancement of Hip Hop."
Mm,
And it's a
okay.
bunch of these white boys
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, like Soul is a really dope rapper. He's actually originally from Maine. And
Mm-hmm.
then Dose One was actually an
Those
original
ones.
member
Okay.
of that collective, and a guy named Pedestrian, Alias, who passed away, but he's a really dope rapper and producer.
Oh, okay.
And then Gel,
Yeah,
I've
we talked
mentioned
about
him
yeah,
before.
yeah.
He's was a one of their staple producers.
Okay.
So it was super talented, but they were very pretentious
I can
and
see how that can
just
rub off
yeah. So
somebody
I
the
think
wrong
they
way.
kind of irritated people.
I mean, even me, when you telling me that right now, it kind of like I already kind of sounds like really?
And I like a lot of abstract stuff, and a lot of their stuff. I would say on like the early part of the Anticon, I probably liked half of what they put out, and then later
Mm-hmm.
on, it was probably 10% of what they put out
Oh yeah.
because it was just kind of it went on a direction. It's kind of more indie electronica kind of vibe that I just
Oh,
wasn't
that type of
feeling.
situation.
As I've gone back and listened to some of it's better than I remember it being, and I've listened to some. But yeah, so it was interesting to me because Controller 7 put out one or two albums on there that were just these instrumental,
Okay.
albums, really good stuff. And then I didn't hear from him for the longest time. And then a few years ago, he put out an album with actually Buck 65. We talked about.
Ah, Buck 60, your boy.
Yeah, and then ever since then though, he started popping up, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, he's doing an album with Shrapnel, which was really odd to me because it's like, they're East Coast kind of. I
Yeah.
don't know, they do have kind of an East Coast vibe to them, like lyrically and their
Uh-huh.
style, but and then this weird abstract kid from the West Coast. But
Yeah.
I think the album really worked in that sense. Like it was really
Yeah.
very well produced. But I
Like
know
the
what you're saying,
Buddhism.
like the one thing that's interesting, I think it's kind of I remember it on some of their other albums, like the beat thing. I'm having trouble talking
Be
tonight.
good.
The beats kind of change or
Yeah.
switch up throughout the song. So like it'll be one beat when the one guy's rapping, and then
Yeah.
it'll completely change
Yeah,
with
just like
another guy
flips over.
rapping. Yeah, so and which is funny to say that because I just read an article yesterday where Drake was coming out claiming that he'd invented that or popularized that
With the
in
beat
hip hop.
switch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
And
been a thing.
Premier answered and was like, "Well, I don't know if you've ever listened to Gangstar," and he named a couple songs and was like, "I think I started that one." But anyway, so it's just kind of funny. But yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I've noticed on their album. They do change it up, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
get
because like
some,
I said, the
yeah,
first part of that was your metal joint was I was not really messing with. I was not really messing with. But then when it
and it
flipped
flipped
over
up.
into the other, I was like, okay, here we go. This is the part I like more. And it's just my cup of tea.
Yeah,
I ain't saying it's a bad like
yeah.
song or nothing like that. It just I don't think it was for me. That first part was for me, and maybe he has to grow on me. I don't know, but yeah. So that was by listening through Shrapnel. It was okay. Like, you know what I'm
Okay,
saying? I didn't think it was anything like super special or
okay.
uh
So you're saying my best album of last year is not very good? All right, buddy.
I guess I'm saying that, man. I don't know. But
We're gonna have to take that one outside later.
I gotta I gotta I gotta go back through it one more time,
I
because
do think, and I think you could say this for the entire label is you have to give their stuff more than one listen to
yeah,
really
you
grasp it,
definitely
and you got to
do.
like really listen to it. Like you can't just kind of have it on.
No,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, because I had to sit there because it was like on one because I was cutting my hair last night and I had it on and then I had to pause it and I had to go back and play a song because I was like, what did he say in that last song? And so like yeah, I had to like focus on it
Yeah.
intentionally, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah.
Uh but yeah, so that one. The next one I listened to was Haram with the Alchemist, Armon Hammer.
Armon Hammer.
Yeah. Now Armon Hammer, they had a little bit more to go off on, I could say.
Okay.
Because I know there's two dudes,
Yeah, that's Billy Woods and Elucid.
in Lucid,
Yeah.
yeah. And with them too, like I said, they're still new to the introduction of them and
Yeah.
everything like that. So I couldn't still tell the voices apart. But uh I feel like they still kind of had a distinctive sound to where I'm like, okay, this is another guy rapping, and
Yeah,
this
they
is
definitely, yeah, they have a different style,
yeah,
but they're
style of
very
it.
complimentary, I think, of each other too.
Yes,
So
yes. And then compared with the Alchemist, I was excited too because I was like, "Oh snap!"
yeah,
First of all, let's talk about that album cover
oh, the pig
with the
head.
pig heads. I was, I was, I was like, "What kind of horror movie I'm about to watch right here?" Man, that was a wild cover choice, man. And I don't know if you can like show that on YouTube or not like that, but because I seen like some of the playlists had it like kind of like blurred out.
Yeah, I think depending on where you're watching it.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, that joint was actually pretty that was an interesting album cover choice, which I don't understand. I mean, I think I get it from, the name title Haram and I
Yeah, it has
that's
to do.
Islamic, right? They can't
Yeah,
really eat pork or something like that.
yeah, they don't eat
So
pork. So unfortunately, I did not get the album, the first pressing of the album. So I've
oh
got
okay.
Haram on vinyl, but it's got the second pressing cover.
No, okay.
Yeah,
They didn't
so
have
I
the
was disappointed because I actually do.
pig.
I like that cover because it is so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wild cover choice. Well, let me kick it off. So going through this album, I'm hearing, I guess it's Billy Woods and Elucid, and the way they rhyme and stuff like that, it had a familiar kind of taste to me.
Okay.
So I immediately, I don't want to say I immediately liked it, but I immediately like I was like, oh yeah, I could like this song. Boom, I could save this song
Like it
for
appealed
later.
to you a little
Yeah,
better
yeah, yeah,
than
yeah,
the other one album.
yeah. And
Okay.
so some of the lyrics on there, which I can't remember, but that kind of took me back. And I was like, oh snap, like they actually like spitting word like
Yeah.
bar for bar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think the compared with them two vocally is like you said they complement each other really
Yeah.
well on that project. And I don't know how it is for their other projects, but I don't know on this one.
I think all the Armon Hammer, they put out like 3 or 4. Their last one was called "We Buy Diabetic Strips."
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we buy diabetic
Which I don't know if
strips.
you've seen those signs out on the street, on street corners
No,
and
I have
stuff.
not.
Yeah, people. Yeah, I've actually had people offer to buy my
Really?
leftover, like, because you can get them through insurance, and then they'll turn around and sell them to people without insurance.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, but
Damn.
yeah, but anyway, that's what their album was, and they actually, their promo was like billboards. They put up like a billboard in LA or something with that
Yeah.
that said "We Buy Diabetic Strips" and things like
Jesus.
that. I think, if I remember right. So, but yeah, I think all their albums have been pretty good. So if you
Uh,
like that one, I think you'll like it. I will say I was excited when I heard Alchemist was going to produce it.
yeah. So
I was slightly disappointed in the production. Not that it was bad,
yeah.
but it wasn't. I think because I just gotten off of a long kick of listening to Alchemist produce like stuff for Griselda.
Uh-huh.
So I was kind of expecting that
That
grimy,
same kind of type of
yeah, and
tone.
then it's a lot. It's
Yeah.
not that at all.
Yeah, so let me
So,
let me let me let me get on that part too, because I was trying to save that part for a little bit
oh,
later.
sorry, I jumped
No,
ahead.
no, you good, you good. So yeah, so I was listening to the way that Lucid and Billy Woods was complimenting each other on the vocal standpoint, and then on the producer standpoint with the Alchemist, like you said, it was nothing that I thought that he would do. Like it was kind of like familiar, but I'm like, this isn't what you used to do, and
You
it's
want
kind of
those
I don't.
drums or so,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there
like
wasn't as
so.
much drums, or they're more like
Yeah,
low.
yeah, it was like everything was kind of subtle in the
Yeah,
background. Everything was a little open more.
yeah.
And I don't know if it's Armon Hammer production. If they that's the kind of production they usually have.
Yeah, it's a little more sparse. It's not quite and that's, I think, kind of because I like their other albums, but I was like, oh, this would be cool to hear them over, like,
Yeah,
these.
Alchemist beat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like, and then I was like, oh wait,
he says
that's not
nothing.
exactly. But so my first listen, it was kind of like, oh, okay, and then I went back again, and it
Yeah,
was like, okay, when I would kind of refresh my mind and went back
got you.
into it, yeah,
Yeah, and now don't get me wrong, like some of the beats was hard, and like
yeah,
you still had those Alchemist samples in there, like
yeah,
what I'm saying those, so you still had the feel of the Alchemist in there, especially with those jazzy piano samples he do
yeah,
all the time, and but what the thing is with that, it just with his production, especially what I expected from his production,
yeah.
it was kind of I don't want to say it was a letdown. It was not a letdown. It just I
it kind
think
of throws you for a loop because you're expecting
yeah,
one thing, and then
yeah,
and I think since that album, 'cause that album maybe like 5 years old, give or take.
the Haram album.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I've expect that now with Alchemist because there's been a bunch of other stuff that he's produced since, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head at the moment. But
yeah,
I've learned like, okay, don't go in thinking you're gonna get,
yeah,
some old school. I mean, sometimes he does come with it, and sometimes it's
yeah.
different. So, little side note, I don't know if you saw, Erica Badu just announced she's working on an album
With
fully
the
produced by
Alchemist.
him.
Yeah,
So
I heard that somewhere. Didn't know it was real or not, but
apparently it
it
is.
is
And then
okay.
I know he and Mos Def have done something, but I don't think it's been fully released yet. They're doing some weird marketing thing on that where you gotta like buy something and then you get a link to it or something, which
Oh my goodness.
yeah, anyway, that's maybe a topic for another day. But
Yeah, but yeah, with the production, I think it was because like like we said, we was expecting certain things.
yeah,
But I do give him credit for working with Armon Hammer. If this is the production style they use or are used
hmm
to, and him trying to change it up
yeah, I'm
and
sure. Yeah,
trying to collaborate with them instead of just like, oh, these are my beats, here, rap on my
yeah, I
beats.
think it was like yeah, they worked
Yeah, they
together.
work together with the
Yeah,
trying to enhance everybody's sound in a way.
yeah,
um like I said, I probably had to go through it again to really appreciate it. But as like for the first go around, there was something that really hit me, but then there was somewhere I felt like I was like, "Ah, no,
okay.
this ain't the type beat."
The one thing
But
I with them, it's dense, kind of like the lyrically.
oh yeah,
There's a lot in
oh
there.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so yeah, I don't find myself like driving and listening to that,
nah.
but
If
like
I'm
there's
just sitting down chilling and
yeah,
I'm
like
like,
when I'm at work sometimes and I just want to not like kind of zone out a little bit, I'll put that
mhm,
stuff on because I can focus on it and not
yeah,
when I'm not really digging into something at work necessarily. So I can kind of
exactly,
put that on and listen to it. And I find that a way
yeah,
with that's kind of the way with a lot of the stuff on the BackWoodz label. Like,
okay,
and it's primarily them. It's like I was saying, like Armon Hammer has put out several albums all on BackWoodz. Um, Billy Woods has put out 4 or 5 albums on there. Luce has put out 4 or 5 albums on there.
yeah.
Um, Curly Castro's put out a few.
So everybody been
Prem, yeah, and then they also
heavy
have
on this label.
yeah, like they've done the album with like Blockhead produced the Billy Wood one. They
Hmm.
also did a Blockhead album that was him with a variety of MCs.
Yeah.
Um, called the Ox, I believe was the name of it.
Okay.
So they've done that. So he's done a few things with them. Um, let's see, the Shrapnel. There's as we mentioned, the Dose One album that came out earlier this year. That's a
That's the
Backwoods, and that
no chorus, all
yeah, no
bars or something
chorus,
like
all
that.
filler,
Or
or
something
no
like that.
filler,
I think it's no chorus, all bars. I
something like that.
believe.
Yeah, which I personally, I know it's a little more abstract view, but that I love that album a lot too.
Hmm.
And what's cool is he like Dose One. I read in an interview how like because he had kind of drifted away from rapping and was more doing electronic music. In fact, he does his day job is like um video game soundtracks.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
dope.
So he's does a lot of that stuff, and from the time he kind of even when he was in the Anticon, he was very abstract, but still rooted in rap. But then for a while, it kind of got into that indie electronic. I'm not even sure what you would call
Oh,
it.
okay.
Um, so I kind of some good stuff, but not really hip hop like
Yeah.
traditional. And he talks about how um Backwoods like really inspired him again, like got him back to rapping again. I think is that
Oh
was what
yeah.
he said, if I remember right, something like that. So that's kind of cool. Like that they did that because when
Yeah.
Dose Rad one raps, I love the way he raps. So it was good to hear
They
him
would
rapping
you like
again.
what do you like you rap like the way you rap like the ground like type of joint or
I just like when he straight raps. Like either, I mean, even the growling doesn't bother me. I mean, he did a lot of that on the North American Adonis album with Buck 65.
hmm
Um, but I mean, because even on that album, I mean, he does growl a lot, but he also, and on the No Course one, he raps. Sometimes he growls,
yeah.
makes weird noises and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
He's kind of all over the place, but I just like him rapping, even if it's growling. Like, I don't know. I like the way he flows.
You like
Like,
the way it goes.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think of some of the other. They put out some stuff by like, there's a guy named Cavalier who I didn't like the one album he put out, but then he put a second album out last year with a producer named Child Actor, if I remember right.
Okay.
And that album I like a lot. So I can't remember the other Cavalier album, but that one I like, the one with Child Actor. And then there's this other group, and I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but they're more, I think, kind of like an actual kind of indie rock, all kind of, I don't know, neo soul
Neo soul.
rock, like kind of a not hip hop basically, just some sort of. I think there's two groups that they've worked with, so which is kind of cool that his label is putting out. It's not just
Yeah.
it's like primarily
Hip
kind
hop.
of progressive abstract hip hop, but
Mhm.
they're willing to work with a lot of people and
Okay.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure Billy Woods it's his label solely. Like I think he owns it outright.
Well,
So
dang, that's
yeah,
pretty good.
he's put out a couple albums too. One was called Maps, and the other can't think of the name of it, but it has this like an old haunted house kind of breaking down. Not really a haunted house, it's just like an old kind of Victorian, but they were
Okay.
both produced by a guy named Kenny Siegel.
Kenny Siegel.
Yeah,
That name sounds
who's a
familiar.
West Coast producer. I want to say he was kind of affiliated with Project Bloat and stuff, if I remember right. So that's like a good, different kind of sound mix. But
Okay.
the Maps album was really good. Yeah, that one was an excellent album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, there's a lot of stuff for you to dig in on that label, and if you like that, Hal- Haram
Haram. Hmm.
album, I think you'll like the other um Armon Hammer albums.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
because the Haram album, it was pretty good from
yeah,
top to bottom. Like I said, like I know I had like my spits and spats here,
yeah,
but I mean overall the project was pretty cool. And like I
yeah.
said, I don't know which it was Billy Woods or Lucid who raps like they had that kind of like winery type slow drawn rap.
I think that's Billy Woods if I remember right. It's
But
I have trouble remembering who's
it
who
it
sometimes.
was crazy because like it was like two songs before this happened, and I was like, you know what, this sound like. I was like, this sound like they can collaborate with Earl Sweatshirt. And then like on I think it was
Oh
the
yeah, I think he's on that
Falling from the
project.
Sky. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
I was like, I know this ain't Earl. I was like, so yeah,
I think that's one of the things I kind of like about them because they definitely like a New York hip hop
yeah,
sound, but they can still, like you said, with like his Earl sweatshirts,
yeah.
West Coast, right?
Let's go.
So
Yeah.
and they can still flow with them and
Hmm.
sound good. They've
Yeah.
worked with a bunch of other people too. So yeah, I think they're versatile, but I don't know, they're just lyrically too. They're just like I said, they're dense. So
That
you got to
dance.
really
Yeah.
listen to it, and it's really intelligent usually.
Oh,
And
another thing
sometimes,
I like about the album. Another thing I like about the album is most of the songs flowed into each other. If that
okay,
makes sense.
yeah,
Like, yeah, because like right when you was getting done with a song, like it was kind of like the next beat was
while
already
we were getting
starting.
out.
Yeah, and then boom, it'll get to the next song, and I don't know why, but I guess I'm a sucker for that.
What
But
makes for a good smooth listen where you just
yeah, you
like
just go
again, it's
through.
not just singles; it's a full project.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
and that was like that for most of the songs on that project. It all kind of flowed within each other.
cool.
So yeah, and I mean, I want to give Alchemist his props on that one
Yeah.
to do that. But yeah,
There's one other album I was going to mention. It's called Brass, and it's
Brad,
Billy Woods and a poet MC named Moore Mother.
more mother.
Moor
Mo.
Mother.
Oh,
More
okay.
like as in
More.
Moors.
Hmm.
But yeah. Um, she's really dope. Like as a like a poet, she does a lot of jazz. She actually Irreversible Entanglements or Intangible, something like that, is a jazz band that she's part of.
Yeah.
But she puts out these really interesting albums that are like I said, more on the poetry spoken word vibe, but that's a really good album. It's
Okay.
her and Billy Woods. On a side note, she actually has an album coming out next month with a metal band called oh my god, I love the band too. I have all their albums.
Yeah.
Um Aaron Turner from ISIS, his band, Sumac.
Sumac. That's the
Yeah.
name.
Um Very kind of an artsy metal band, but heavy. So I'm really curious. And they put out a couple singles, but projects like that I wait until I get the album.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to one like song from it and
Yeah,
then
the
wait.
single or something like
Yeah,
that.
so I want to
It
like
mess it up.
wait. So I'm waiting for that one to come out because I'm really curious. Because like that band's they've worked with like various people, like this Japanese noise musician, and they've worked with just different people, and it's very eclectic but
Yeah.
excellent metal. So I'm really curious how that one's going to sound and how it's
Yeah,
going to
that
come
is.
out. I was excited when I saw it. I was like, wow, that's like, threw me for a loop. Like,
Yeah.
although it shouldn't have, because like not long before they released a song of hers that the band had remixed. Or no,
Okay.
or vice versa. It was a song of theirs that she
She
remixed.
remixed
Maybe
it.
one of the, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm drawing a blank. But
Uh-huh.
so I guess it shouldn't have necessarily been a surprise, but that's just like an interesting collaboration. But I would definitely check out that Brass album. That one,
Okay.
yeah. In fact, I need to pull that one back out again. It's
More
been a while
about it.
since, yeah.
Okay.
But the album's called Brass. So,
Oh, speaking of the poetry thing too, that's one thing I want to get back to the Haram album.
mhm.
One of those either BackWoodz or Lucid has a very poetry type of spoken word
I want to say it's
rhyme.
probably a Lucid.
That's probably Lucid.
I think that more, yeah, where Billy Woods has like what you were saying earlier, like kind of,
The bars and stuff like that.
yeah, well,
Yeah, like
it's hard for me to, I don't know. I'd have to listen and tell to really answer that question now that I
yeah,
think about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they definitely same thing with Shrapnel too. I feel like it was more on the I guess on the spoken word type of side
I
too.
think and I don't know their history of, but they do all four of those MCs do have that kind of,
Poetry background, I guess you could say.
like it sounds like it. Like I know
Oh
what you're saying. I don't know for sure what they have, but they definitely have more of that kind of vibe to them.
yeah,
Like almost, I don't know if they came up in some of the slam poetry stuff in New York,
yeah,
but yeah, they definitely have that more than your average MC. So
yeah, they do.
yeah.
But no,
So
there was some great listens. I probably can check
okay.
out the rest of the label and see what they got going
Yeah,
on.
I think, yeah, I think you'll find some good stuff on there. So um
Would you want to do the honorable mentions, or you want to do top five, or
um
you got something else to say?
I was gonna say one other thing real quick,
Okay,
just on another note. Um A$AP Rock just announced a new album.
okay. He said rock.
Yeah, called Black Hole Sun something. It's like all based. It's like something concept based all around like a convenience store or something like that. Yeah, I don't. He does. He's on kind of this concept vibe on his last couple
Okay,
albums.
I like
But
concepts though. I like
yeah, so
concepts.
I'm. It's again. He's dropped a couple singles or two singles, I believe, or one single, because it was just announced Tuesday of this week.
No,
It
yeah,
comes out in May, end of May or something like that. But I'm gonna do my best to hold off until the album comes out to listen to it, because again, I like to try to. He's another one that I would
the one who
want to
listen
listen to
through
front
all
to
the way.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but just I know we had recently talked about Impossible Kid. So,
yeah.
um,
That was a dope. That was a
yeah,
dope album right there.
yeah. So that was good news when I saw that. So, something to look forward to.
Yeah,
So,
even production wise on that joint, I loved every bit of it.
yeah, and I think I haven't seen all the details, but I'm pretty sure he probably produced this one again. He's
Okay.
done his last few. So, or do you want to pick this time?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and dibbly dabbly in this bad boy. See what we got.
All right, it's our top five for this week.
Top five gangster rappers.
Yeah. All right.
Top five gangster rappers. Let's see what we got here. Uh, I guess one that come to mind. Well, no, in case you call him Thug, but I was gonna say Tupac. But I mean,
Yeah, I said
life.
I wouldn't. I don't think I would consider him a gangster rapper necessarily.
Okay, I'm gonna
Uh,
say okay. Then I'm gonna say one of mine's one of my favorite. Then Scarface.
yeah, that would be a good one. I was gonna say MC8.
MC. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Primarily off the first two Compton's Most
Compton's
Wanted
Wanted.
albums. The solo stuff is decent, but those first two albums are my favorite.
Got you.
Their first one is one of my is straight up. No, and that's NWA thing.
Yeah.
What's the name of that first album?
Uh,
Um,
they had a self titled one, right?
no, their
It was
second one is Straight Checking Them. Their first one
music.
was
Is
It's a
that music?
Compton Thing.
Is it Compton thing?
It's a Compton Thing. That's their first one. That to
Was
me
it?
is my what's that?
I thought there was like music to.
Music to Drive By. That's
Yeah.
their third one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So when
okay.
um, It's a Compton Thing, which is my favorite like gangster rap album of all time.
Okay.
And then Straight Checking Them, and then Music to Drive By.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I'm not sure after that. I think that's when he started putting out his solo albums.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I would put he's up there. And then
Oh, it's just since we're talking about NWA, I want to say Ice Cube, but would you put Ice Cube as a gangster rapper or a political rapper?
I've always put him as a gangster rapper. I
Gangster
think.
rapper. Okay.
Again, though, I mean, yeah, yeah, I would say a gangster rapper.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, right, he really totes the line of both of them most of the time.
I would say it's more gangster than
Gangster.
political. It like edges on political from a gangster standpoint, I guess.
Oh, okay, I guess you.
And then later, I mean, and that's only, you know, after what Death Certificate. I don't think he really did much political after that. Maybe here and there, like a song here and there.
Yeah, he had what was that? The Death Certificate.
Well, there's the Predator. Was that the next one?
Might have been or yeah, might or Lethal.
America's Most Wanted, and then Death Certificate, and then Lethal Weapon or Lethal Injection. Lethal Injection.
Lethal Injection, yeah.
Yeah, and then Predator, I think, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so
yeah, you're right. I mean, I think Lethal Injection maybe was the last one he really got political on.
Yeah,
because I think that was like maybe during a Rodney King joint or something like that. Because I think that's the one that had Good Day on it.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not too sure. You know, I gotta go back to, but I believe that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
So I guess that's 3.
Let's see.
Gangster rappers.
When I wrote that down, when I wrote that one out, I thought this will be easy. Now I can't think of any.
I mean, we got it's flooded with them too. So you know.
Yeah. I mean, like there's DJ Quick, but I don't think he's that great of a rapper. He's a better producer, a far better producer than he's a rapper.
Now I'm kind of having a hard time like with the gangster part because it's like I'm always like separating them now, like you know, because like I just said with Tupac, like he a gangster, but he also a thug, and then it's like Ice Cube was gangster but political and stuff like that. Because I want to say another one, especially around my generation, is like Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane, he's probably a you know.
I don't know if I've ever really listened to any of his stuff. Never really appealed to me. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I've heard some of it, but
yeah, I mean, Gucci was probably one of them. But I mean, then I can like make the argument that he's a trap artist, like a dope artist, like a dope selling artist. You know what I'm saying? Instead of
like just straight gangbang.
Yeah, but no, I'm gonna give Gucci that one though.
All right.
On that.
On the strength of their first couple albums, I think you could argue "Be Real" from Cypress Hill. But I think they were more weed rappers than gangster rappers. Yeah. I mean, their first album definitely had a gangster kind of vibe to it, but after that, they kind of really just honed into the whole
weed.
Yeah, and that became their yeah. But
I mean, I want to say the whole Death Row label probably because that was just. I mean. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like that that
yeah, I mean, because
gangsta at his you know prime right there. I could say, you know, because you had
yeah, but we're talking about top 5 gangster rappers, and I don't know if a lot of those were top rappers really.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could write like Corrupt or who was the other guy from Dog Pound?
Nate Dogg.
Daz.
Daz Dillinger.
Yeah, like you could argue the two of them are probably up there. I'm forgetting the obvious. Schoolie D, greatest gangster rapper of all time. I can't believe I forgot that.
Schoolie D.
He invented gangster rap. Even Ice-T gives him credit for and that's another one, Ice-T. But he's more of a, I think, on the pimp rapper side, I guess. But,
snap.
Yeah, Schoolie D, greatest gangster rapper of all time, hands down.
Oh man. I mean, like, hold on, what we talking about though, like
PSK.
But like rapping though, like, you know, I mean, I guess he started the gangster rap, but Jesus, I think
you know I got
a
soft spot for Schoolie. Yeah. I wish Eric was here right now because we've had long discussions about that.
Oh yeah, yeah, going back, yeah, because that's a questionable one. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, he does not agree with me at all on that one. So.
I mean, yeah, give the man his props though. You know, he did it. At least if he invented it, then you know, I guess you.
I mean, there's still some people will.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple maybe before him, but he's kind of like
one of them.
Yeah, but like I said, even like Ice-T has said that he based his cadence and his flow on 6 in the Morning off PSK.
Okay.
Yeah, like that inspired him to write that and the way he rapped it and stuff.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. But I mean, honestly though, like if you listen to School Use Me, he's not really a gangster rapper. He's just kind of like an old school rapper.
Yeah.
I mean, he raps a lot about drugs and sex and kind of the same type of stuff, but
No, okay.
it's not really full on gangster stuff. So other than like PSK, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, shoot, if we talking about it, they call this dude. Well, I mean, I heard his name like this, the Godfather of gangster rap, which is Eazy-E.
I he didn't write most of his stuff though,
Do you right? So yeah.
and you know, I've heard stories they talk about how um like on Boys in the Hood,
Uh-huh.
they had to like keep stopping,
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
possibly,
Uh-huh.
like because he couldn't keep his flow,
Yeah.
so they had to like he'd say one or two lines and then he'd screw up, and so then they would have to like
Okay, yeah,
patch it
okay.
in, like patching them in and record over and overdubbing and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean, he's the godfather of the gangster rap industry.
But he didn't
But
like
yeah, I wouldn't
as
put
a
him as a top
top.
gangster rapper. Although Boys in the Hood is probably one of the top gangster rap songs, though
Yeah.
I do love that song. So yeah.
Well, okay, well we if we talking about like rapping, I wanna say Nas.
Yeah, I mean that you could consider like Illmatic particularly
Yeah,
as
that's
kind of a like that New York gangster type style. And I mean, I think you'd have to throw in Mobb Deep, like
yeah,
Prodigy and Havoc.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, and if you want to talk modern, I guess you would probably pull in like Benny the Butcher
Oh yeah, Benny.
and
Yeah, Benny.
um
Griselda.
Conway the Machine and I guess West Side Gun with his whiny ass voice.
Yeah, I'm not really too big fan of some of West Side Guns like features. You know, I
Yeah.
mean he got some good stuff solo with.
His voice though is just hard to really like. I mean, he does typically have pretty good beat selection though.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um and I get why people like him. I can small doses. I
yeah.
guess, Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think you could call them and then
Oh, another new age one though for me would probably had to be the baby.
was he you consider him a gangster rap? I don't listen enough to his stuff to really know.
Yeah, definitely the baby is a gangster rapper. And probably the best gangster rapper, honestly. Like for rapping wise,
Really?
like
Okay.
his flow is immediately like it's usually when you hear the baby song, soon as the beat cut on, you hearing him like he's not wasting no time. He just tearing that bad boy up too. So yeah, I'll probably have to say, at least for this
Yeah.
modern time, maybe the
What
baby.
about like I don't know if you're familiar with Boldy James.
Bodie James. No, I'm not too familiar with
Okay.
Bodie
He's a
James.
Detroit rapper. I don't know if he'd be gangster or more like I don't know, cocaine rap or whatever you
Okay.
want to call it. I don't know if that yeah.
Was that five already?
I think we're way past five,
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't think we've ever held it just to five, have we? So
Yeah, top
yeah.
20.
I know. The top 20, top 25, top 20, top five, something. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have a
yeah.
suggestion that the viewers should listen to?
Yep. That's what I've been listening to this week. It's a guy named Phil Most Chill.
Feel most chill.
Yeah, and he's been around a while. Like it's one of those I remember. I didn't remember him, and then when I saw it, I was like, "Wait, that sounds familiar." And then
Hmm.
I looked up, and yeah, there was a few, but it's an album he just put out with a guy named I guess it's DJAR1, so it's DJAR1.
Okay.
But I don't think it's DJ. I think it's DJAR.
D
So,
Jar.
but it's called Deal With It. So,
That's the album name
yeah.
title.
So, that's the cover there.
Okay.
Yeah, just like a good kind of old school early '90s hip hop.
Feel to it.
Yeah, the beats are kind of that, you know, more kind of upbeat kind of '90s kind of golden era vibe,
Yeah.
and just some good straight rapping. Yeah, like I think the second song is called Back to Rhymes, and that's kind of I think the good name for the whole album. Like
Cause just
they're just
boom.
rhyming. Yeah, so um, yeah, I've been actually listening to some of his older stuff too, but that album is actually really pretty good. And then the other one I would throw out there is Godfather Don,
Godfather Dawn.
who's been around for a long
Stuff.
time, but he put out a really good album last year called Thesis.
Yeah.
But this album is with the British, I think they're British, production unit called Jazz Spastics.
Jazz Spastics.
Yeah, and the album is called Writer's Delight. I haven't given a full listen, but what I've heard I really like.
Okay.
And I do like their production. I've listened to a few of their albums, and they're really just good jazzy hip hop, like good kind of classic jazzy style hip hop.
Is it I guess like referencing Rapper's Delight
I
from
think
Sugar
so.
Hill Gang?
Yeah, like I said, I haven't given it a full listen, but I think that is kind of like
Okay.
Instead of just rappers, it's writers. Like
Writer's Delight. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would definitely check out both of those albums. Those would be my mentions, my recommendations. So, do you got anything?
I do not have nothing for this week. I don't have. I mean, cause I have some of the songs I'll just kind of go back and listen to, and some albums I'll and if I see one here, I might play a new album. But usually I'm kind of listening to the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe next week I might have another one for y'all. Okay.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this week. Definitely I would tell everybody go check out BackWoodz Studioz. Some good stuff there. I would go through the whole catalog, and then don't forget about Feel Most Chill and Godfather Don.
All right, guys.
And can't go wrong with Schoolie D.
Schoolie D stuff. Hey, I want somebody to type in the comment section, man, if they got some Schoolie D fans out there.
There's got to be. I can't be the only one.
So. All right.
Thanks, everybody. And remember, like, share, and subscribe, and we can keep building.
And we'll see you guys next week.